Have you ever taken a picture and found someone in it who wasn't there? Ryan and his friends just wanted a weekend getaway, a little peace, a few laughs, maybe a good photo or two. But when they looked at the image later, there she was, standing still, eyes slightly turned, wearing a silver cheongsam, and no one remembered seeing her. What followed wasn't just fear, it was sickness, nightmares, and a haunting that refused to let go. Let's uncover this story together, only on Uncle Hollow NX. Ryan was a final-year university student who lived on the quieter edge of Hong Kong, surrounded by the buzz of city life, yet tucked just enough away to breathe. He balanced deadlines with a growing obsession: photography. Through his camera, Ryan tried to capture moments most people missed: the way light hit an empty alley, the reflection of neon signs in puddles, a glimpse of silence in a city that never stopped. He wasn't superstitious. He didn't care much for ghost stories or the temples his grandmother whispered about. Ghosts belonged in movies, not memory cards. Ryan was close with his older brother, Leo, and still hung out with a small group of high school friends. One Saturday, they decided on a quick trip out to a stretch of land they'd heard about, isolated, forgotten, and supposedly once the site of a tragic accident, the kind of place urban explorers talked about but rarely visited. There were no signs, no warnings, just wide-open space, overgrown shrubs, and an eerie silence that didn't feel quite natural. They parked the scooter, cracked jokes, and lined up for photos. Leo volunteered to shoot while the others posed with the scooter. It was just a fun moment, one of dozens they had taken over the years, but that photo would change everything. Later that evening, back in the apartment, Leo connected the memory card to his laptop. The images loaded one by one, some blurry, some funny, nothing out of the ordinary, until they reached that shot. In the center of the frame stood a woman no one recognized. She wore a pale silver cheongsam. Her arms hung loosely at her sides. Her eyes weren't looking at the camera. They were looking slightly to the side, toward Leo. Her presence was solid, no blur, no transparency, like she had been standing there the entire time, but none of them had seen her. Not when the photo was taken, not even peripherally. Ryan renamed the file ghost.jpg as a joke and sent it to two friends. That's when the sickness began. Leo sat up straight in his chair, frozen. Ryan leaned over his shoulder, narrowing his eyes at the figure in the center of the image. The woman wasn't blurry. She wasn't off to the side, caught by accident. She was framed, dead center, arms stiff, hair draped down like it hadn't moved in hours. The silver fabric of her dress shimmered, though the sun that day had barely peeked through the clouds. No one said anything for a full minute. Then Ryan laughed nervously. "Nice Photoshop job, Leo." "I didn't touch it," Leo muttered, his voice dry. They checked the file's metadata. Nothing altered, no editing software used. The timestamp matched the moment the photo was taken. Leo opened the raw image file, same result. "But she wasn't there," Ryan insisted. They pulled up the shot taken seconds before, just the group, no woman. The next one, again, she was gone. Only one photo captured her. Perfectly still, perfectly visible, perfectly wrong. Ryan's roommate, Matt, who had been listening in from the kitchen, came over. "Whoa, that's creepy," he said, squinting at the screen. "She looks off." Ryan sent the file to two friends in a group chat, captioning it, "Tell me this isn't haunted, LOL." The message was meant to be funny,
But the image didn't spark jokes, it sparked silence. Later that night, Ryan couldn't sleep. Not because he was scared, he was still in denial, but because the room felt heavy, like the air wasn't moving. The next morning, he woke up with a sore throat and aching joints. By noon, he had chills. His head throbbed like a drum. He checked his messages. Both friends he'd sent the photo to hadn't replied. By 3 p.m., one of them texted back, "Dude, I feel like crap. Been in bed all day." That night, Leo came into his room. "Hey, do you feel weird?" he asked, scratching his neck. "Like dizzy? I've had this weird ringing in my ears." Ryan nodded. "Yeah, and I'm freezing." Leo turned to the laptop still open on Ryan's desk. The image was still there. The woman's eyes, dark, slightly glazed, seemed to follow them from the screen. "We should delete it," Leo muttered. But Ryan hesitated. "It's just a photo," he told himself. "Just a trick of the light, a glitch, a coincidence." Still, he dragged the file to the trash bin, but he didn't empty it. That night, he dreamed of standing in that field again, alone. In the dream, the wind didn't move, the sky had no sun, and the woman was standing 10 feet away, just staring, not blinking, not breathing. When he woke up, the first thing he checked was his laptop. The file was still in the trash, and the room felt colder than before. Over the next few days, Ryan's condition worsened. He couldn't focus in class. He skipped meals. The ache behind his eyes pulsed with every heartbeat. What started as a mild flu began to feel like something else, something deeper, heavier, like gravity had doubled just for him. He didn't tell his parents. He didn't want to worry them. Then came the messages. One of the two friends he had sent the photo to texted again. "Bro, this is weird. I've had the same exact symptoms since yesterday. It's like something's pressing on my chest." The second friend still hadn't responded. Ryan checked their social media. No posts, no activity. That friend finally replied 2 days later, saying they had been admitted to a clinic for dehydration and fever. Ryan laughed it off in front of his friends. "Must be that time of year. Everyone's getting sick." But deep down, he started to feel watched. He began to notice small things: static in his earbuds, flickering lights, sudden drafts even with the windows closed. His dog, usually friendly, refused to come into his room. One night, while scrolling through his phone, he felt something brush past his leg. When he looked down, nothing was there. He tried to rationalize it all: stress, lack of sleep, psychosomatic symptoms, but that didn't explain what happened to Leo. Leo had printed the photo. He didn't tell Ryan at first. He had planned to show it to a colleague, just to get a second opinion, someone who worked in photo restoration. But before he could, Leo fell ill. Not just sick, disturbed. He started waking up at 3 a.m. drenched in sweat, shaking. He claimed he heard whispers from his closet. Once, he swore he saw the woman from the photo standing at the end of the hallway. Ryan was furious when he found out about the printed version. "What the hell would you do that?" he snapped. "I just wanted to understand what we saw. But now, I think we weren't supposed to see it at all." They burned the printed photo that night, outside, in a metal bin behind the apartment complex. The flame didn't catch easily, as if the paper was resisting, but when it finally did, a foul, sour smell filled the air. It lingered long after the fire died out. Ryan deleted the photo file from his laptop, this time emptying the trash. He even wiped the SD card clean, but the damage was done. The sickness had spread, not just to the people who saw the image, but to the space itself. His apartment didn't feel like home anymore. The corners seemed darker. His reflection in windows sometimes looked delayed,
The world wasn't glitching, he was. And the worst part? He still felt her eyes on him, even when the photo was gone.
Ryan hadn't mentioned the photo to Benji at first. It wasn't that he was hiding it. He just didn't think Benji, with all his calmness and Buddhist mantras, would take it seriously. But by now, Ryan was desperate. They met up at a small cafe tucked beneath a rusted pedestrian bridge. Benji arrived in his usual quiet way. Black shirt, canvas bag, mala beads around his wrist. After a few minutes of small talk, Ryan pulled out his phone and opened a backup cloud folder. There, despite everything he'd deleted, the image remained. "I thought you said you wiped everything," Benji said. "I did," Ryan replied, "but it's here. I don't even remember uploading it." He turned the phone toward Benji. Benji didn't flinch. He stared at the image for a long time, eyes narrowing, jaw locked. Then he pushed the phone back gently and leaned in. "That picture isn't just an image, it's a door, and you've been holding it wide open." Ryan's skin prickled. "What does that mean?" Benji looked around the cafe before continuing. "There are places, spiritual dead zones, where things don't rest. That land you went to, I've heard about it. People say it was sealed off after some kind of tragedy, accidents, disappearances, but no one ever talks openly. There's something about that place that doesn't let go." Ryan tried to play it off. "You make it sound like I brought something back." Benji didn't blink. "Maybe you did." They sat in silence for a while. The air inside the cafe felt suddenly stale. The sound of the city outside seemed distant, muffled. "I've been having these dreams," Ryan admitted. "I see her, just standing there, never moving. But the moment I look away, I wake up, like something was about to happen." Benji nodded slowly. "Don't look away next time. Let her finish." Ryan recoiled. "Are you insane?" "No, but if she's trying to say something, avoiding her won't help." That night, Ryan took Benji to his apartment and insisted on staying over. He said, "Let's do something small, just to balance the energy." He lit incense, chanted softly in Cantonese, and placed salt bowls at the four corners of the room. "You believe this is spiritual?" Ryan asked. He said, "I believe it's not physical." Around 2 a.m., Benji woke up coughing hard, like he was choking. Ryan jumped out of bed and found him on the floor, eyes wide. "I saw her," Benji gasped. "She was standing in the corner of your room, not moving. But the air, it was thick, like I was breathing through water." He didn't sleep again that night. That's when Ryan started to believe. Not in ghosts exactly, but in the idea that something had crossed over, and it wasn't finished with him.
Ryan was exhausted. The incense had burned out hours ago. The salt bowls sat undisturbed in each corner of the room, though he wasn't sure what good they were doing. Benji had gone home after promising to check in the next day. Ryan locked every window, closed every curtain, double-checked his closet, then crawled into bed and stared at the ceiling for what felt like forever. Sometime after 3 a.m., he got up to use the bathroom. The hallway was dark, lit only by the soft blue glow of a street lamp outside. He didn't turn on the lights. He didn't want to wake anyone. The bathroom mirror was foggy from earlier. Ryan rubbed it with his palm and looked up. He saw himself, barefoot, pale, disheveled. But something wasn't right. The reflection tilted its head, just slightly, while Ryan stood still. Ryan froze. He blinked hard. The reflection was still smiling.
Not a wide grin, just a faint, unnatural curve at the corners of the mouth. His real mouth didn't move. His jaw was locked. But the other Ryan leaned forward, slowly, until its face was only inches from the glass. Ryan stepped back instinctively. The reflection stayed close to the mirror, head now tilted to the opposite side. The smile widened just a bit more, as if amused. Then it blinked. Not in sync, not together. "That's not me." Ryan stumbled out of the bathroom, his breath shallow. His knees hit the floor first, then his palms. He was shaking so violently he could barely call for help. His brother came running, confused, then frightened when he couldn't get Ryan to speak. It took 15 minutes before Ryan calmed down enough to explain what he saw. Leo said nothing, just walked into the bathroom, looked at the mirror. It was normal. Ryan slept in the living room that night, lights on, every mirror covered. The next morning, his mother found something odd. In the hallway outside the bathroom, just above the baseboard, there were scratches. Thin, erratic, shallow, but there, like someone had been clawing at the wall, low to the ground. None of them had noticed it before. Ryan didn't want to ask if they were new. He already knew the answer.
Benji wasn't comfortable handling this alone anymore. "I've done what I can," he admitted. "You need someone deeper in the tradition, someone who's seen this kind of thing before." He made a call. 2 days later, Ryan and Benji walked through a narrow alley nestled between two crumbling buildings in one of the city's older districts. There was no sign, no doorbell, just a rusted gate and a wooden plaque carved with a single character. An elderly man answered, his back hunched, his eyes milky but alert. He didn't ask for their names. He simply stepped aside and let them in. The room was dimly lit, with soft chanting playing from a worn-out speaker. Incense drifted upward in lazy spirals. Scrolls lined the walls, filled with symbols Ryan couldn't read. In the center, a low wooden table sat beneath a mirror covered with a red cloth. Ryan pulled out the printed photo, the last remaining copy Leo hadn't burned, and placed it on the table. The old man didn't touch it, he only looked. His breathing slowed, his eyelids lowered. "This isn't the first time she's been seen, but it might be your last chance to stop her." Ryan's throat tightened. "What is she?" The man closed his eyes. "Something left behind. She doesn't know she's gone. Or perhaps she does, and she doesn't care." He opened a drawer and handed Ryan 3 items. A paper charm folded 3 times, a stick of sandalwood incense, and a thin brass bell. "Burn the memory card tonight, before midnight. Cleanse the room with this incense while ringing the bell, slowly. Then place the charm above your bedroom door. And whatever happens, do not speak her name. Not out loud, not even in thought." Ryan swallowed hard. "She doesn't have a name." The old man looked at him sharply. "Not to you, but she knows yours." That night, Ryan and Benji prepared the ritual. Leo, still pale and shaky, sat nearby but said little. They lit the incense. The air grew dense, smoke curling like fingers. Ryan rang the bell once, twice, slowly, evenly, letting the chimes settle into silence before the next. He burned the SD card in a ceramic bowl. The plastic warped and hissed. The flame turned green for a brief moment, then died without leaving ash. The room temperature dropped. A glass on the shelf cracked. No one spoke. When it was done,
Ryan taped the charm above his bedroom door. It fluttered slightly, though there was no breeze. That night, he slept. No dreams, no cold, no eyes watching from the mirror. But deep inside, he felt it wasn't over. Only pause.
A week passed in uneasy quiet. No more sickness, no more shadows, no more smiling reflections. But Ryan couldn't let it go. The silence felt like a waiting room, not a resolution. He needed answers, not rituals, not warnings. Truth. He went back to the alley where the old man lived, but the gate was locked. The wooden plaque had been removed. The apartment above had new tenants who said no one by that name had ever lived there. So Ryan turned to city archives, digging through old zoning records and newspaper clippings. It took days, but eventually he found it. A single article from over 30 years ago. Search abandoned for missing soldier in northern outskirts. The story was brief. A soldier, newly married, had gone missing during a routine patrol near the edge of the city. His wife had searched the area for weeks, refusing to believe he'd deserted or died. Locals remembered her walking barefoot at night, holding his uniform coat, whispering his name over and over. They said she stopped eating, that her hair turned white in a month, that one day her body was found near an abandoned bus stop, curled into a seated position, arms at her side, dress soaked from the rain. The official cause of death? Hypothermia. Unofficially, no one talked about it again. Ryan leaned back in his chair, heart pounding. He pulled up the ghost.jpg from a hidden backup folder he hadn't deleted, zoomed in. The woman in the photo was standing, arms slack, hair long, face gaunt. Her eyes not on the camera, but slightly to the side. Just like the article described. He looked closer. Her hands, left hanging limp, right curled into a tight fist. He felt a chill ripple down his spine. That's how people stand when they're waiting, not moving, not reaching, just waiting. Like someone expecting a ride home. A year passed. Ryan had moved to a new apartment across town. He'd changed his number, sold his old camera, even stopped photography altogether, something no one thought he'd ever do. But just as he started to believe it was finally behind him, his mother called. She was cleaning out a cabinet in their old apartment when she found something pressed flat under a pile of winter blankets. A photograph, not printed professionally, just a glossy 4x6, faded at the edges. "Do you want this?" she asked casually. Ryan's heart dropped when she sent him a photo of the picture through text. It was that photo. The woman in the silver cheongsam stood motionless in the center, just as before. But now, something was different. Behind her, barely visible in the shadowed background, was a second figure. A man. He stood slightly behind her right shoulder, wearing what looked like a military uniform. His eyes were pale, almost white, his mouth slightly open, as if whispering. Ryan zoomed in as far as he could. The image pixelated, but the outline was clear. They weren't just ghosts in the photo. They were together. He never remembered seeing a second figure before. Was it always there? Had the print captured something the screen never could? Ryan didn't reply to his mom. He deleted the message. Then he stared at the wall for a long, long time. He never touched a camera again. Even now, years later, he avoids reflections. Glass, mirrors, black computer screens, not out of paranoia, but respect. A deep, uneasy knowing that once you've opened a door like that, it never really closes. Sometimes when he walks past shop windows late at night, he thinks he sees movement behind his reflection.
Just a flicker, a tilt of a head, a shape standing perfectly still, watching, waiting, just like before.
Some images capture beauty. Others capture things we were never meant to see. Ryan's story isn't just a ghost tale. It's a reminder that some places carry weight, emotional, spiritual, and historical. When we step into forgotten land with curiosity but no caution, we might wake things that were finally sleeping. There's also something hauntingly human in the spirit that appears: a woman endlessly waiting, a man lost in war, a tragedy frozen in time and unknowingly reopened by a camera click. We often think technology makes us powerful, but the lens doesn't just see, it remembers. And sometimes it brings things back. What if we aren't just observers, but participants in stories we don't understand? In a world so obsessed with documenting everything, maybe we need to ask ourselves, should every moment be captured? Or are some stories meant to be left alone? Ryan's decision to stop photography wasn't just fear, it was respect. Because sometimes walking away is the most powerful choice we can make. If this story chilled you to the bone, you know what to do. Like this video so we know you want more terrifying tales. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe a photo can trap something or someone? And don't forget to subscribe, because tomorrow's video might make you rethink what's standing behind you right now. New stories, new horrors every single week here on my channel. Until then, keep your lens clean, your mirrors covered, and maybe don't look too closely at your last selfie.